Brick Cave TX. Let's build this forest robot. What we're going to start out with here is a skeleton made mostly of ball hinge joints. We got a lot of ball hinge joints in this skeleton. Got the shoulders going everywhere, up and down. Moves just like a natural shoulder would. Also moving down to, so you can go forward and back and up and down. And then we got this nice elbow joint too that can go just move as an elbow would. Coming down to the hand, we got good wrist mobility with this ball joint. And the fingers here have a lot of posability, which is really great. You can also even add a spike in there if you need more intense hands. The thumb is created by this piece here where you can move it. I love when Lego uses these rounded edges. You can really pose this thumb in a lot of different ways. It can also hold items, which is awesome. So if you're wanting to have it hold a weapon or something like that, it's not the best connection, obviously. So you'll see it can slip out really easy, and it's mainly meant for if you're just kind of posing the character and keeping it still and giving it a little fancy pinky. Oh, there we go. It's a fancy swordsman. It can also hold minifigure sized weapons. Again, you kind of have the same issue here where it can hold it good, but whenever you're moving it around, it'll slip right out. But what these fingers have is this nice hole right here. You can slip that in there, and it mimics the hand holding the weapon. So there's a little workaround using these pieces to holding minifigure sized weapons. Let's pop that arm back on. Now let's look at the head. So the head is constructed of a snot brick that has studs on all sides. This can look up, down, move its neck side to side, turn its head everywhere. A lot of mobility here. And using this little 1x1 piece here, you can kind of mimic a neck so that the head's not just floating with this skinny neck there. It adds a little beef to the neck and a good point for that hinge to connect to. Let's go down to the hips here. Now that I was really confused by this piece of how I was going to use this kind of piece, but it has come out to be a really crucial part to making the hips and the abdomen. This guy can squat and move his stomach around so that he can balance better, and it also allows for good hip mobility too. Now, for this guy, I'm using really big, long feet on him. So I didn't concern myself with ankles or feet too much on the skeleton. So let me show you what you could do if you were wanting to have shins and a foot here. What you're going to want to do is, again, I want to add another one of these ball hinge pieces where you can mimic the shin and the ankle. And now what you would do is keep this straight so that you can move it just like a knee would, up and down. And you can use these ankle pieces as you would a natural ankle, where you can really balance there and get this guy to stand up using those ankle pieces. So let's go back and put this guy back together and get ready to start building. All right, so now we're back in. Let's go ahead and start with the chest here. We're gonna grab some leaf pieces. These add a lot of detail. Ever since Lego came out with these pieces, I've used them on a lot of sets, and they just add a lot. And I'm gonna cover up the snot bricks there with a nice rounded tile. Come up to the back here, and I'm gonna place this piece right here, kind of beef up the neck area, and put these underside slopes. These also smooth out any build that you're doing. Let's go to the shoulder over here now. We're going to use this snot brick here, bring it around so we can add some stuff on the sides. And now we're going to go over and put some snot brick on the top to really secure the shoulder in place. Whenever you move it around, the arm can tend to fall off if you don't lock it in place. So we're going to lock it in place with these little 1x1 snot bricks. Come up from the top and the bottom, and with the plates that are in between, it allows for a 1x2 to fit right there. We're going to add a little bit of flair with giving it a slope. So there you go, and now the shoulder is locked in. Now let's add some little bit more detail. Come back to the leaf and put a slope on there. I'm going to change the color there so that the color along the bicep can go along the top of the shoulder as the same color. There we go. Okay, now let's do the forearm. I love these pieces. They had a lot of detail also. You're going to hear me say I like a lot of pieces because I just have a lot of pieces that I like on this figure here. We're going to put some quarter rounded dots on the hand here to round off the hand and cover up the gray part of the palm. There we go. One arm is done. Now let's do the other one. You'll see that I use a green leaf on this side. I like to add a lot of asymmetry through the color on a lot of my figures. This adds more story to the character. Like, why is one side an orange leaf and one side's a green leaf? You know, it can kind of be like, well, maybe his left arm has really seen some battle and has some damage or something and needs to heal or something like that, and that's why it's got an orange leaf and not a green leaf or things like that. So I always like to put a little mismatch things into some of my builds. Not going crazy with it to make everything look out of place, but enough to where it adds to the story. Now we're going to complete the hip. Real simple. 2 pieces and you got a hip. You got your hips there, right there. Okay. Let's go to the leg. Using a lot of these snot bricks. And what's great about putting the leaf here is it extends past this hinge. So it covers up the hinge a bit, giving a little bit more realism to the character. Round that off with a slotted thing. And now we're going to put this rounded 1x1 here. And this adds detail. It gives it more texture, makes the thigh not so blocky. We're going to do the same to the other side. And now let's go to the head. Let's start with the side pieces, just putting a 1x1 onto a leaf, snapping it in place, doing the same kind of thing here with the orange and green. And I found this piece in our pieces, and I don't know what it's from, but it's cool and it's going to add some detail. So I'm going to put that to the back, kind of like maybe this guy has little tiny antlers in the back of his head. Now we're going to go to these rounded 1x2s. I love these pieces. They can add a lot of detail to your builds. And I'm using the anti-stud right there in the middle there, and now I got eyes. He can see now. Now we're going to put on his little hat, snap that in place. And I like to really look at where the cutouts of the pieces are to really position those into where they can feel like they're meant to be there. And plop a little stick in there. Now you have something to grab to pose him a little more. You can turn his head with the stick. It's in there really secure. And now let's go to the shins and the feet. Okay. Speeding this up, I kind of broke these down into already made pieces using a 4x1 with some snots and snapping that right in place. Now we're going to lock that in place with 2x1s and 4x1s. There we go. And to add some detail, I'm going to round off the back. And this place has a great section right here where I can just throw in this snot brick and line that up to have a nice 2x4 section on the side of his leg. So let's cover that part up. don't know what these pieces are called. It came in that 3-in-1 creator dog set, and my daughter's gotten a lot of those sets for her birthdays. So we have a lot of these pieces, and they look kind of like tree bark. So I just kind of put them together and made some tree-looking shins out of them. So I put those together, and I used a 2x2 rounded piece, kind of adding that texture detail where it's not so blocky on that one side. Kind of filling in the gaps with 2x2s, 1x2s, and some nice detailed pieces to round off the foot. And what's great about this big of a foot is that you can use it to balance on one leg. So it's got a lot of surface area on the bottom here to be able to just balance on one leg. This figure's really posable. So let's do the same to the other side. And you're done. That's how we build this forest robot. It's a really fun build and something really cool to have on your desk and have him pose around and be your little desk mascot. Really hope you enjoyed this build, and I'll see you on the next one.